Robots in Disguise 2015 was 8 years ago. Almost a decade ago, Robots in Disguise 2015 debuted. Now, this toy line was hit or miss, and the show was also kind of equally hit or miss. I didn't even fully watch the show. I ducked out around season 2. I did watch the finales of each season, but it was not. It was too much of a Monster of the Week kind of show for me to really be invested in. And the toys, I didn't get them all, but I love different versions of Optimus Prime. And this is the Warrior class that was made available for Robots in Disguise. And unfortunately, this thing is not that great. I mean, they cut so many corners. Look, he's got these oven mitts on his hands. Like, the front of the truck is literally just on his hand. However, if they had the foresight to just add a little bit of extra engineering, that's actually cut out right there. They could have just had it slide down, and he wouldn't have oven mitts on his hands anymore. That was a modification. It's stock. Yeah, he's just got these big old boxing gloves, and it looks horrible. So yeah, this was our only option for Optimus Prime. And if you know Optimus Prime, especially in the Robots in Disguise show, he was kind of a big boy. I mean, he's kind of like Beast Hunter's Optimus Prime, just kind of slightly modified. So once you stand Warrior Bumblebee, which is actually a very good figure, next to Optimus, you're like, this scale's kind of not right. Now, granted, we never really truly got an Optimus in scale with this Bumblebee, but it's nice to just have a big, nice Optimus Prime toy. That's something that Robots in Disguise in America never really delivered on. However, its Japanese Takara Tomy equivalent, Transformers Adventure, definitely did. Say hello to the Transformers Adventure, I believe, TAV21 Optimus Prime. Interestingly, he's not called Convoy for this series in Japan. He's just called Optimus Prime. So yeah, this is just a big old nice chunky Optimus Prime toy that actually manages to still have a nice, decent robot mode. Because while Robots in Disguise had a ton of different Optimus Primes, a lot of them were trash. But thankfully, this one is not trash. And it was only sold in Japan, because of course it was. I actually managed to get this fairly inexpensively off of eBay lately. I won it on bids for about $60, which I believe is pretty close to what it originally retailed for. On eBay nowadays, you're going to be looking at around $120 plus to get this thing. So yeah, I hope if you want this, you can find a good deal like I did. So yeah, it's a nice big Optimus Prime. He does have some electronics. I don't think there's really a way to access them in the vehicle mode, but we'll just hit the button for the robot mode so you can kind of see. He talks! It definitely is a lot better in the robot mode. But yeah, the main thing with this Optimus is that this is a fully transforming, like, truck and trailer Prime that turns into one robot where you can actually put something inside, which is pretty crazy. So I did actually want to take this opportunity to also discuss one of my favorite deluxe scale Bumblebee toys, and that's the Robots in Disguise Warrior class. Love this thing. It's so fluid, so posable. I love the hinge and ball joints at the shoulders. I love the look of it. It's such a fun figure. I really do enjoy it, and it's crazy to me. I got this thing New Year's Eve 2014, so over 8 years ago is when I got this. Time definitely does fly. But anyways, I want to transform him real quick, because number one, I love his alt mode. And number two, I want to demonstrate how this trailer works. And also, this is a fun, quick, and easy transformation. This is one of those figures that just uses the mass of the vehicle mode so wisely. It's ingenious how this thing comes together. It's so nice. This thing is like, look at how these arms just like collapse into the body. And look at how the shape of the arm works with the hips and the waist. It's so well done. Then this panel comes up to like close it all up. And then the door wings, they just neatly fold in, and it like has this really satisfying tab. And boom, there you go. Here's one of the nicest Bumblebee car modes I've ever seen. That is satisfying. That is so satisfying that you can actually haul at least Bumblebee in this vehicle. I'm sure you can't put characters like Strong Arm in here, but I can imagine Sideswipe, Drift, Blur, tons of others will be good to go. One nice thing too, you can actually open up these panels, so you can almost have them like, you know, come up from the top. And I mean, so I guess if you want Windblade in here, because I kind of forget Windblade actually showed up in this cartoon. Never got a toy of her from this cartoon. Yeah, RID, man, was such an odd time. Because they never really made a collector line for Robots in Disguise. I kind of hoped for Legacy they at least cover, someone like Thunderhoof or Steeljaw. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, really do love this Bumblebee, and I love the integration with this Optimus Prime. But I think we've talked about this vehicle mode enough. Really do love the wheels, too, by the way. Let's transform it. So this guy's going to get very, very, very tall. So at some point, I will have to do a couple jump cuts to raise the camera. So anyways, let's get into it. So we just open up this. Basically, the trailer is the legs. So that will give him very large legs. But one cool thing is that these actually form the feet. So these are on these armatures, and they'll go all the way back to form the feet. I think it's actually really clever. You do want to put the doors in first, though. And we'll just split this, put the feet down, flip that panel down. His legs will be very hollow, just a heads up. But, I mean, the legs are basically a trailer. It's going to happen. You do want to detach the arms, because the arms actually tuck underneath the trailer, which is pretty ingenious. And then next up, we'll take these panels, flip them off to the side. Take these and flip them off. And then... oh, geez. We're getting tall. Let's do a jump cut. So I have raised the camera significantly because he gets very tall. So, kind of get the arms out of the way, if I can. And then these panels, actually, like, swing them out a little bit, and then swing that in, and put it back where it goes. I do kind of wish the wheels were larger, because I really like how RID Optimus has these massive wheels on his legs. But this design for this toy can't really capture that, because RID Prime is like a massive wheel. It's not really working out here. But we'll take the torso, we'll rotate this around. Oop, I hit the button. I guess it's kind of like a Revenge of the Fallen Prime. You can't transform it without hitting the button. It actually does have a cool automorph gimmick, where when you take this panel and move it back, that actually drops his chest down. So that's a really cool little automorph. We'll then move the wheels back, move the smokestacks up so you can have a nice smokestack look. And then his back panel, you can see on the wheels, there's kind of a little groove and kind of a little tab. That'll kind of slot into place. That is his off and on switch. Just, I mean, it's kind of important to know that from time to time. And then his shoulders will come up and tab into place. Move his arms down. And last but not least, so here we go. Here's Transformers Adventure Optimus Prime in his robot mode. He is huge. He is definitely leader class. To give you a size comparison between this and the Warrior Optimus, can you see him? No? There he is. Yeah, he is huge. And if you recall Bumblebee's size, he's about Warrior Prime size. So I think Bumblebee's still a little too small to truly be in scale with this Optimus. But still, it's very nice to have a nice, big, impressive leader class-sized Optimus Prime for any collection. Especially since we did not get this in the United States. So yeah, he's got lights and sounds. Let's just get into what he's got going on before we talk about anything else, because there's some of these that are really funny. See, they're so funny. He laughs at them. That's actually the funniest one. He actually has some laughs. He says a lot of names, so he said fix it there. Bumblebee. Autobot something. I really like how the Matrix of Leadership lights up in his chest, too. Oh, that's a good one. I really wanted that one to be in there. He has this weird, like, pain scream. Grimlock, and he's got that classic Transformers Prime sound effect. I think he said Ultra Magnus there, which is very odd given how Ultra Magnus was not in Transformers Prime. Or it was in Prime, but not in RID or Transformers Adventure. Sounded like he said Prowl there. Oh, there's that one again. Sideswipe. Laugh again. There we go. That's the last one I really wanted you to hear, where he's like, Transformers Adventure. It's kind of funny how he just says the name of the cartoon. So yeah, he laughs. He's in pain. He calls out the names of characters. He's got some nice little sound effects. I really do like the design of RID Optimus, and I think this toy captures it really well. Some people do have issues with his big old legs, but in my opinion, I mean, it was kind of the aesthetic of the show, having these big old legs and these weird proportions. So I actually do think for the purposes of this toy, here, just panning out a little bit, for the purposes of this toy, I think the big legs actually suit him pretty well. So, what does he come with? Before we even get more into the toy, he has accessories. So he has his like Energon axe of sorts. This is for him. That is his axe. He also comes with a gun that really closely resembles his blaster from Transformers Prime. So that's pretty cool. But then all of the other accessories you get are for other characters. So we have Bumblebee's like Decepticon Hunter sword. And if you don't believe me, here's the one that came with the Warrior class in clear blue. So you can see, yeah, it's pretty much the same weapon. And since it's in silver now, it kind of makes a little bit more sense with the show. We have Drift's blade, Drift's sword, even though it kind of reminds me a little bit more of Sideswipe's, but I haven't seen the show in ages. It says it's supposed to go to Drift, so this is Drift's sword. Even though Drift already comes with swords, so this isn't super relevant. We also have Jazz's lance, which is interesting. I'm actually very happy about this because I've wanted to give the lance that the Jazz figure comes with to Lancer for the longest time because I just think that'd be kind of funny. But now I can do that because I'll give Jazz this lance and Jazz's original lance will go to Lancer, so that's kind of neat. And then last and definitely not least, we actually have Strong Arm's proper gun because the Strong Arm figure came with this weird gun with like this opaquely blue painted blast effect at the end that looks like confetti coming out instead of a blast effect. So I'll very much enjoy giving this to Strong Arm and making her look a lot better. However, that just went on the floor. Let's give Optimus his weapons. And you may be noticing, how are we going to do that? He doesn't have peg holes to put the hands in. Very cool action feature here. A little teaser on the underside of his arm. Press that button, and the handle flips out, which is really cool. It does present a problem of the weapon weighs down that spring, so the hand does end up supporting the weight of it. But yeah, it's kind of cool how that works. I don't think it works as well with the gun, but we can flip it out and do that. Come on, let's flip it out. There we go. So you can put the gun in there, and it kind of looks odd with like this weird hilt for the gun. And the gun's handle is actually a lot thicker because these holes on the side are meant to mount the weapons. And I had the gun mounted on his arm, but you can see it actually caused a little bit of stress on the front of his arm there. So that's kind of unfortunate. Maybe some heat will take care of that stress mark a little bit. But just for the sake of simplicity, we'll have it in his hand. So yeah, you can see it's kind of at an odd angle. Looks kind of funny, but it is what it is. So his articulation's actually kind of nice for how big he is. Swivel at the head, swivels at the shoulders. They kind of stop because of the sculpt, but you can get him working. In and out. He's got an elbow. He actually does have a wrist rotation, believe it or not. For having that gimmick, he does have a wrist. It moves all of the way without the handle, but it stops it a certain way with the handle. It does have a waist for transformation. Legs move forward. They move out. He's got a thigh swivel. Big old knees. They don't bend all the way, but, I mean, look at his big old legs. They're very hollow. I mean, like I said, they're a truck trailer. And his ankles, they do have a pivot and a rotation. So let's try to get him in a fairly dynamic pose here. Let's figure this out. Ooh, let's not pop his trailer open. So let's rotate his foot. He is pretty stable. I am surprised for how big he is. So let's get the Energon axe, rotate his waist a little bit, get his gun pointed. There we go. So yeah, he can actually pose pretty well for how big he is. He does pose pretty well. So that's pretty much it. Here's this big old Transformers Adventure Optimus Prime. I really do love the look of it too. Let's get in close one more time. I really do like the design. It is really cool. One extra thing I almost forgot. You might have noticed this square on his shoulder where it's got a dial. Essentially, if you remember Transformers Robots in Disguise, we can see with the Bumblebee, it's got like a sticker where you can where you could have scanned it into an app and like had the toy in the app. That was also in Japan. Japan did a very similar thing. But with this Optimus, they decided to give you the option for a standard symbol and then two different things to scan. And it's really easy to just flick it, and it kind of goes in a natural position. Might need to adjust it a little bit, but still, that is very cool. Typically, I will have it with the standard logo because, of course, it just got knocked out of position. So, it does have a little bit of backpack with this, but it's not the end of the world. So yeah, really cool figure. I'm really happy I got it. I've been wanting it for a while, and I think this is a very cool, very worthy Optimus Prime to have in my very extensive, ridiculously massive Optimus Prime collection. It stands out, and not just because it has massive legs. It stands out because it's, as far as I know, the first Optimus Prime I have in my collection that speaks Japanese. I think that's pretty cool. And it's not every day that Japan has exclusive big talking Optimus Prime toys. They did have one for Age of Extinction. It wasn't nearly as good, but still they did have one for Age of Extinction. They did actually have their own unique version of the Leader Class Prime for Age of Extinction too. I actually wouldn't mind going back and getting that one at some point. But yeah, when it comes to Japanese Takara-only Primes, I think the most recent one we've seen was for the Bumblebee movie, where it was like an upscaled Age of Extinction Voyager. And I do have that one. It's very cool. It's cool to have like a leader class Optimus from like the evasion mode. It's kind of cool. So yeah, there we go. I think I've rambled long enough. Here is Transformers Adventure, basically leader class Optimus Prime. I love it. If you can get your hands on it, I definitely recommend it for around the $60 price that I paid. Once you're pushing triple digits, it gets a little harder to justify because, I mean, it's not super substantial. You can see his legs are very hollow. It's a toy. This was designed to be a toy compatible with the other toys from the Transformers Adventure line. That's why you got all the weapons, so you can give your extra characters the weapons. This was meant to be the centerpiece of the Transformers Adventure line, and I'm very surprised that Hasbro never imported it. I think they could have. I think they should have, but they didn't. This was Japanese only. And I'm going to end this video off with, there is a Supreme Mode version that looks very, very cool. And I really want that one too. But for now, I'm very happy with this version. I mean, I'm an Optimus Prime collector. It doesn't hurt to have a different version, especially since that one does have a lot of differences in the sculpt work. I definitely want that Supreme one at some point, but that one's even harder to get because it was already more expensive because of the chrome. I'd love to get that one, but for now, this one, the standard Robots in Disguise Prime, is awesome. I'm really happy to get this. 8 years in the making, pretty much. 8 years ago is when this thing came out. Insane. Man, time really flies, and putting it into the perspective of Transformers collecting is wild. I remember the Thrilling 30 toys coming out in 2013. So we're getting close to Transformers' 40th anniversary. Wonder what Hasbro's going to do for that. Well, anyways, guys, enough rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching. Special shout out to the channel members as well. Thank you all so much for your continued support. And alrighty, guys, there we go. Have a great one. And what do you guys say to send us off, Prime? Whatever you said.